What's your name?
My name is Phang Do. You can call me Dan.
Okay, and how old are you?
I'm 19-year-old and I'm currently a second year in my university.
Okay. Do you prefer studying with other people or alone, and why?
Well, based on my previous studies, I usually conduct my revision alone. But whenever there is a test that is nearby, I would really really love to have the help and support from my other friends.
Okay. Let's talk about transport. Is public transport expensive in your country? Why or why not?
Well, public transport is quite cheap in my opinion because there is promotional price for students as well as for the elderly. Well, normally the elderly would get free if they are 80 years old or more, and the student would have half the price of what normal people would usually pay for.
Do you prefer to travel by train or by bus? Why?
Well, if I have to say, I would prefer to go by the bus because it is more convenient for me to catch the bus, and while I have to first take the bus and then go to the platform in order to take a train. But in my opinion, if I were going long distance, I would surely prefer the train because it is more efficient.
Do animals have any special uses in your country?
Well, if you are talking about our culture, it certainly is one of the food sources that our nation depend on. One of the other things that people might not immediately think of is how they are used in medicine, such as snake that could be made into snake oil that could help with acupuncture or things like that.
Are there any places where tourists can see animals in your country?
Well, I suppose that there are a lot of point of interest that people could go to see animals there, such as there are a lot of farms on Dalat city that have a numerous amount of apes and sometimes cows because they also live there. In the city though, in my city, in Ho Chi Minh City, there is a zoo that have all sorts of animals like peacocks and things like that.
How often do you travel by plane?
Well, I normally don't travel by plane if it is too much of a hassle to trying to book and getting on a plane. Normally the the line is too long, so I would normally go there by, if I were to book via an aviation agency, a traveling agency, then I would surely go it by a bus. But normally, if it is for when I want to experience new things, I would definitely book via my aviation agency.
Have you ever fallen asleep while traveling?
Well, almost definitely, because I am very exhausted after. I will be very exhausted after waiting in line and packing my belongings before getting into the bus or the plane.
Have you ever been on a holiday to see animals?
Well, most definitely, I have been to a lot of festivals, but rarely, occasionally, I would see some animals that are in display. That are in crowd that I could see. Normally, it would be only when I am going to night markets that I would see them.
Would you like to work with animals? Why or why not?
Well, if I have a chance, I would like to work with domestic animals like those that are raised in cattle and whatnot. I kind of not fond of the urine or the feces that they produce, but I would very much like to try to take care of animals responsibly.
Okay, let's go on to part 2.
Okay.
Okay, you have 1 minute to make notes, then you speak for 2 minutes.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay.
you can begin.
Okay, I will start about rolling by touching on the matter. Whose this wedding was, and my choice is going to be my aunt's wedding. Now, on the subject of what the ceremony was like, I would like to point out that it was a very informal wedding. It was sort of like a wedding that you would normally celebrate with friends and family, but not with guests or any person that are in your workplace. Moving on to the business of what clothes people wore, I suppose that they were nice and new clothes, but not too formal, because both the bride and the groom was also wearing formal clothes. Speaking of how I felt about the wedding, I suppose it has a warm and cozy atmosphere, to be the least. But the food there was pretty great, in my opinion, because they have been homemade, so they shouldn't have any of the labor-produced things that would normally get in of table. As a final point, if time permits, I like to talk about how I felt about this wedding. And the thing is, I am very hopeful that my aunt's marriage could go well and this wedding could be a success.
Okay. Let's go on to part 3.
Okay.
You can keep that one.
Okay.
Okay, in the near future, we may see the first driverless cars on the road. Are there any potential dangers if this happens?
Well, if you're talking about driverless car, I would like to point out some of the danger that it might have. For example, like mismanaged computers that could be baked into chaos if they were hacked or be infiltrated in some way. And the number 2 thing is they might be misused or misled by other people. So it could be filled with false positive information that could cause it to make the wrong directions. I still think that self-driverless car is quite becoming the norm. it will be greatly improved because they would have machine learning or algorithms that would help them improve over the time.
As more and more people are becoming victims of online crime, is it time for everyone to stop conducting all their business over the internet?
I'm sorry. Speaking about this matter, I would like to point out that crimes are committed often on the internet, but not all of them. But properly conducted businesses is very useful on the internet because they are cost effective and very easy to manage. The one hard thing is to harden it, to secure it so that no one could be, there would be no man in the middle attack. So the businesses would be secure.
What are the advantages and disadvantages of living in an extended family?
Well, I have to be honest, I have been living in my extended family for about 3 years. It was about the time when I was studying in my primary school. The thing about it is that people are generally very nice. There is a lot of things that you could be. There are people who could help you with a lot of things like chores or homework, or just anything that you can't deal with at a time. But in my opinion, living by yourself is a much more affordable. A much more independent choice to do so.
What do you think is the ideal age to get married? Why?
If I have to say, it would be around the time when you have stabilized your finance and have proper opinions with yourself, and also the relationships with your coworkers and your neighbors. That way you can have a much more stable income, and you could have a great deal of headroom for your future child or whatnot.
Okay, we finished.
Okay.
Joe.
Thank you.
See you.
See you.
That's open, sorry.